So Anthony Joshua stops Otto Wallin in the 5th round in one-sided fashion. Is the old AJ back? Let's talk about it. I predicted Anthony Joshua would stop Otto Wallin in the 9th. I was thinking at first that it could be an awkward night's work for AJ because his confidence is not there. But the closer we got to the fight, and in my prediction video I said this, Anthony Joshua is going to win this fight quite comfortably. And the reason that I came to that conclusion in the end and said it in my prediction video is because Anthony Joshua is so familiar with Otto Wallin. And then it clicked, the eureka moment in my head. That's why he's wanted this fight for so long, because he fought him twice in the amateurs and beat him both times. And he had him in the gym for sparring. And according to Richie Woodall, who was there, he said that AJ was handling Wallin so comfortably in sparring that he actually had to hold back. That is what gave AJ the confidence, because everybody's going to be talking about how confident AJ looked in there. Yeah, he did look confident because he felt as though he had the measure of the guy based upon being in the ring with him several times before. That's why he was more comfortable against Otto Wallin than he was against Jermaine Franklin or Robert Helenius, guys he's not so familiar with. I know he did spar Robert Helenius back in the days, but certainly never fought him. And Otto Wallin was way out of his depth. I said in the prediction video that AJ is actually the more skilled fighter. And if he's got the confidence to implement the extra skill and the size and the strength and all that, it should be a relatively straightforward affair. Ended up being 5 rounds, which was several rounds earlier than I thought. Joey Gamache, Otto Wallin's trainer, said, that's it. After 5, you're just taking a shellacking. It's not even competitive. AJ's pot shotting. He's starting to open up with shots and you're getting hurt in there, son. I need to save you for another day. So that's all she wrote for Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wallin. And AJ was really doing what he wanted in there. His reach was too much for Otto Wallin to overcome. And another thing I mentioned in the prediction video was that Otto Wallin, while he moves his feet well, he's upright. And if you're upright against Anthony Joshua and he's got the reach on you, as he clearly did against Wallin, you're in trouble, right? Because if you're going to go in there against AJ and, give up the reach advantage, you either need to be a serious puncher, somebody fast that can catch him like Andy Ruiz, or you need to be someone that's got some head movement about you, like Alexander Usyk, so you're never on center line and you can slip and counter AJ. Otto Wallin didn't have that. Okay, AJ was better in every department. He was more skilled, the longer arms, the better jab. He was throwing that straight right hand to the body. That's another thing I talked about in the prediction video, that AJ is going to go to Wallin's body with a right hand because Wallin has a pretty tight guard and he may be able to block the straight right hand to the head, but the right hand to the body was just sickening Otto Wallin. You could see it breaking him down. And his team did the right thing, assuming Wallin didn't quit. I don't know whether he quit or not, but if it was his team's decision, they did the right thing because that fight was only going to go one way. Wallin landed a couple shots here and there, nothing that remotely bothered Anthony Joshua. He was just so comfortable. He was so familiar with Wallin's moves. He knew what Wallin was going to do before he did it. So, yeah, it was a good performance by Anthony Joshua. And it turned out to be the confidence builder that he needed. You see, this is what he needed in the Franklin fight and what he needed in the Helenius fight. This type of performance where he just dominates a guy, beats him up, hardly takes anything back, feels comfortable, feels happy. And you could see in the post-fight interview the glee in Anthony Joshua. He was so not just relieved. He was relieved after the Helenius fight. This fight, he was actually bursting with happiness and excitement. He was trying to hold it down and be a bit cool in the post-fight interview, but he could barely contain his glee. He wanted to go in on Deontay Wilder for all the stuff that Wilder said about him. He probably wanted to go in on Jarrell Miller, who obviously got beaten on the undercard as well. But he held it all in and, he was spotting everybody and very, very happy and all that kind of thing. And so moving forward then, Anthony Joshua's confidence will be improved based upon this performance. There's also the role of Ben Davison. People are going to say that Ben Davison is the trainer for AJ. He should forget about Derek James. He's got all he needs in the United Kingdom with Ben Davison. Well, I think time will tell whether that's the case or not. I think the jury's out. Ben Davison's a great coach. I've rated him for a long time as being a very good trainer, but there's no one-size-fits-all trainer for every fighter. Some trainers are good for some fighters and not so good for others. So we need to see over the course of time whether Ben Davison is the guy. Who's to say that if Derek James was in his corner for this fight against Otto Wallin, that the result wouldn't have been the same? At the end of the day, it takes several fights for a fighter to get their confidence back, and it takes several fights for a fighter to gel with a new coach. So time will tell whether Ben Davison's the guy if he continues to work with him moving forward, or whether he goes back to Derek James. One thing I will say, though, is AJ looked more fluid in this fight than he did in his last two fights with Derek James, where he was still looking kind of mechanical. In this fight, he would drop his left hand occasionally. He looked more fluid, looked more relaxed and comfortable. How much of that was down to what Derek James was teaching him versus what Ben Davison was teaching him, and how much of it was down to AJ just feeling more relaxed because he was more familiar with Otto Wallin? Again, we'll find out in due course. But overall, it was a comfortable performance from Anthony Joshua, the kind of performance which will give the fans a lot more confidence in him again. And one thing has to be said here, Anthony Joshua did a much better job on Otto Wallin than Tyson Fury did. A much better job. Tyson Fury went 12 rounds with Otto Wallin, got cut, and he won the fight, no question, but he never came close to stopping the guy. It was actually competitive. Whereas this fight with Anthony Joshua wasn't competitive in the slightest. AJ just destroyed the guy, made a complete, mug of him, made mincemeat of him. So you have to say that in AJ's favor. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought about this show in the comment section below and this particular fight, Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wallin. Is AJ back the way that Eddie Hearn is saying? Or did this performance actually flatter him a little bit, again, because he is so familiar with Otto Wallin? I think he's going to carry confidence going forward, but again, confidence can leave you early in a fight if it ends up being difficult or more difficult than this Otto Wallin fight was. So I'll leave it there. Good card overall. Definitely looking forward to more cards like this in the future. Saudi Arabia, I have to agree with Frank Warren, is looking like the new Vegas. The way Vegas was in the 80s and 90s, Saudi looks like that place from here on in. So yeah, I'll leave it there.
Are you sick and tired of the mainstream mindset? Does the dogmatic conformity and pathological ignorance have you tearing your hair out in frustration? Then don't be alone. Come and join our brotherhood on Patreon. We stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. You'll gain access to my weekly topical podcast where we take more deep dives than Jacques Cousteau on an endless variety of subjects. There's also videos, interviews, live Q&As, as well as a vast back catalogue of previous episodes, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen via the Patreon app or download in high-quality MP3. Connect with myself and hundreds of other members in our Element chat group. There's no contract, no commitment. You can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a Mickey D's McMuffin. Just head to my Patreon page via the link below this video and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. I'll see you over there.